Week 8 of the fantasy basketball season, and here's a few forwards I look to sell high and trade this week. The first guy's Gordon Hayward, the Charlotte Hornets. This is the fourth or fifth time this season he's made this list as Hayward. On the season, he's ranked 24th in fantasy basketball, and it's been a good season for Hayward. I'm not going to lie about that. 22 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 3.9 assists, 1.2 steals, 2.3 threes a game. 86% from the foul line, 49% from the field. In the last few weeks here, he's had a couple good ball games along the way as well. February 5th versus Utah, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a 3. February 7th versus Washington, 25 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals for Hayward. And then February 8th versus Houston, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for him, 3 threes made, 36% from the field. So Hayward, he's played a lot of games this season. So far, the injury bug surprisingly hasn't caught up to Hayward for this Hornet team. But I just think Hayward, he's going to fizzle out a little or get injured and not play that good, because we haven't seen a great track record now from Hayward in the last 3 or 4 seasons. I know he's playing well. He's putting up stats. He's living up to the contract so far. But I just can't see if for whatever reason Hayward lasting at this higher production or staying healthy this season. So if you're a Hayward owner and you could afford to get rid of him if he's not one of your better players, this is the week to definitely try to do it before his stats start to take a hit before the All-Star break, where he could be hitting the wall, because this guy, he usually only plays about 40, 50 games tops a season. And right now we're about in the 26 to 30 range with games played for most teams in basketball. We'll see if Hayward could keep things going here, but I don't know if he can. The next forward I look to sell high this week in trades, Thaddeus Young of the Chicago Bulls. Young, he's been a big pickup the last few weeks in fantasy basketball, and he's playing well. On the season, he's ranked number 98, 11.3 points a game, 5.3 rebounds, 4.5 assists a game, 1.5 steals, 48% from the foul line, which is just awful, and 59% from the field. But the last few weeks, he's really stepped it up even more, ranked number 43 in this time. 13.3 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 59% from the field for Thad Young. In the last 4 games, he's put up great stat lines. February 3rd versus New York, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a whopping 5 steals. At Orlando, February 5th, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. At Orlando, February 6th, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, 2 blocks. And then February 8th, 28 minutes, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, a block. So Young, he's giving you about 6 or 7 categories right now in fantasy basketball. He's playing at a high level. We know he's a veteran player that's been in the league a ton of years right now, and he knows what it takes to be a good player in this league and stuff. But I don't think this is going to continue for Young. I could see him getting traded at the deadline to a contender where his playing time will go down and he's not going to play much. I think Young, you could package him with someone else and get a good deal, because I don't think these numbers are going to stay. He's had injury history over the last 2 seasons where we saw him early in the year miss a ton of games as well. And I just can't trust Young to keep putting up this production. So right now, while his value's at a pretty high level, I would look to trade him this week. The next forward I'd look to trade is Robert Covington of the Portland Trailblazers. Most of the season, Covington, he's been struggling and not playing good basketball, but the last few weeks now, he's finally getting things going like he did last season with the Houston Rockets as Covington. So we'll see what he could do as the weeks go on here. Covington on the season, he's ranked number 93, 7.6 points a game, 6 rebounds a game, 1.8 assists, 1.7 threes, 1.7 steals, 93% from the foul line. But it's still awful, 34% from the field. But the last couple weeks, he's really picked it up, though, as Covington, ranked number 32 in this time. 11.7 rebounds, 1.8 assists, a whopping 2.6 steals, 2.2 threes he's making, and 44% from the field. Ranked number 32, like I said, in this time span. So Covington, he's playing better. He's getting about 30, 35 minutes a game right now with this Portland team, especially with C.J. McCollum out. He's getting more shot attempts and more of the ball in his hands is Covington. I think his role will be this expanded like it's been since McCollum's been out. The last 3 games he's playing well as well, Covington. February 2nd at Washington, 19 points, 9 rebounds, an assist, a steal, 5 threes he made in that one, 6 of 10 from the field. February 4th at Philly, 9 points, 6 rebounds, an assist, 4 steals. And then February 6th at the Knicks a couple days ago, 13 points, 10 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals, a block, and 3 threes in that game. So Covington, he's shooting the ball more. His percentages are going up. But the track record we saw from him the first 6 or 7 weeks of the season just isn't good. And right now, he's still owned in 80% of fantasy leagues. And he's a player to sell high on because right now, he's playing well. Like I said, McCollum's out. And with his track record on the season, I just can't trust him. I know he's had a couple good games in a row here. But he's a player you package with someone else and get him off your roster, that at least you get something for him. Because if he goes back to putting up the bad stats he was doing most of the season, he's a player that's definitely droppable. The next forward that's sell high or just tradable this week's DeAndre Hunter of the Atlanta Hawks. Hunter now, we just found out he needed meniscus surgery. And he's going to miss most of the season now, 7 to 10 weeks. So that'll bring us about to week 15 or week 18 in fantasy basketball. So that's a long time Hunter's going to be out, most likely to April. And on the season, Hunter, he was really good. He was ranked number 48, 17.2 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 1.7 threes a game, and 51% from the field. So Hunter, he was a big part of fantasy teams. He was a great player for the Hawks, and the injury bug, it's caught up to the Hawks so far this season. We saw Gallinari get hurt early in the year. He's back now. But Bogdanovic, he's been out for a while. And now Hunter, he's going to be out 7 to 10 weeks, like I mentioned. And if you're a Hunter owner and you're down in the standings, you should just try to get anything for him at this point because he's not going to be useful, obviously, on the injured list. And if you're up in the standings with Hunter, maybe you hold on to him. But if you're an owner, like I said, down in the standings or middle of the pack, you just trade him for anything for a player that's active and who could get you a couple points, rebounds, and assists because Hunter, he's going to be out a long time. People, I'm not going to wait for him. I'm in a league where I'm struggling right now, and I'm going to try to get rid of Hunter because I can't wait for him. But only's in first or second place in most leagues where they're, way up there in the standings. They can wait for Hunter and keep him. But if I could trade him and get something, anything of decency, this is the time to do it because he's out right now and he's not really worth the stash if you're down in the standings. And the fifth and final forward I will look to trade this week's Laurie Marketing, the Chicago Bulls Marketing. He was on a good tear before he went down with the injury, which is going to cost him 2 to 4 weeks with the shoulder sprain is Marketing on the year. We saw some good stat lines, 58th ranked in fantasy basketball, 19.1 points a game, 6.1 rebounds, 2.9 threes a game, 84% from the foul line, 51% from the field. But now he's going to be out, like I said, with the shoulder sprain. And he had back-to-back 30-point games. January 30th, 31 points, 6 rebounds, 6 threes versus Portland. Then February 1st versus New York, 30 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 6 threes. But now he's going to be out, like I said, 2 to 4 weeks. And if I'm a marketing owner with his injury history and him just missing time, he's a player I would definitely look to sell off this week. He's not going to produce the next couple weeks. I don't know if he'll come back 100% healthy. And we've seen guys on Chicago emerge now, like the rookie Patrick Williams and Denzel Valentine, who's been playing well as well. So if you need some waiver wire advice, check those videos out where Williams and Valentine featured in forwards to pick up this week in fantasy basketball. But Marketing, he's going to be out. And if I'm a marketing owner, I look to trade him as well, like Hunter that I mentioned before, for anything of decency I could get. So that's a few forwards I will look to sell and trade this week in week 8 of the fantasy basketball season.